I was wondering why I wasn't getting so many viewers, and it was because I had this thing set to private. Oh, good old me. Good old me. But hey, at least somebody found the link now that we got this thing going again. Welcome back. Ted's Bodies and Wicks got kicked off. Of course, I always get kicked off after about an hour for some reason. I don't know if it's just because the hard drive that's recording it takes too much and then it just decides to kick me off or whatever. Anyways, what were we talking about before I got off? I'll try to make the last little bit about crypto short and sweet, and then we'll get into some indices talk. So first, I actually got the Bitcoin thing to come up, so we'll talk about Bitcoin really quick. How about that? That should probably be the number one thing, since we really didn't get to it. Right now, all of the cryptos are heading up. So, and even in my trade, my Ethereum trade, I'm in the positive. My Neo trade, I'm in the positive. I'm just now entered a Litecoin trade. It's about to be in the positive. Just because they all came back and it looks like they all hit, it entered into, the gap that it was, and now it seems that the momentum is swinging in the other direction after it entered into the gap that it was the gap that was open. How high can it go? That's what I'm going to have to watch and see and make sure that the gap is it doesn't fall too far back into this gap, and it may be a very short-lived moment for price to be going up, as it seems like it has been slowly decaying, but then again, it also did reach that point to where it entered the gap, and it could be going up and trying to create a new high. So we'll just have to double check and see about that. So this is, of course, you always want to aim for a high, and this is the high, the ultimate high. Make sure I got the coordinates here correct on this one. So, and again, we are on the 1 hour chart here. So again, I'm still watching this big green, this big green candle that happened yesterday around 5 o'clock in the morning that just kind of pushed all crypto up. And then after that, it kind of settled, and now it's back to that kind of settled area. And now we're seeing another push, a little bit of a push after that. And see what is going on with this. And so that being said, with Bitcoin, again, like I said, I would watch this area down here to see if it does stop, take a dive, not take a dive, but does start to pull back. I would watch these green lines here, again, 58,500 and 57,500. So a good 1,000 in between them. Is what we could see. So let me see here. All right, that's what I got for Bitcoin for now. Again, I'm going to be watching this closely. So last one we were talking about was Litecoin. Again, it's also doing the same thing. I didn't check Bitcoin to see if there was any kind of breaker. That would be it. It wasn't really a breaker that came around that area. If I was to go back, there is one, but it's right here. I don't even know if that's a breaker or not. Yeah, it is a breaker. But, and its high is in the same area, you know, so that would be something to watch out for. I am going to get rid of this because that was when I made that call and absolutely obliterated it. But what I'm going to look for is that last up candle here, right? Last hourly up candle here. Drag it sideways. And of course it fits right into that area that I was talking about. So if there is going to be a very, very bullish take on this, if it's not happening already with Bitcoin, and we still continue to see it fall backwards, you know, push up, fall back, push up, fall back. Once it hits around this area, I would expect Bitcoin to start turning around again, because it's already made its moves back through here and done kind of the same thing. I wouldn't expect it to try to go through this just because of all the price action that happened through here, covered up, you know, basically everything, went back and forth. Again, the only other thing I would look at would be this area down here, but that's really getting down there, the 52,000 area. I would be looking more at around here, in between the 57.5 and the 58.5. But you know, as of right now, we could be seeing Bitcoin, you know, on a new journey, on its way up to see if it's going to break a new high. Let's head on again over to Litecoin. Again, similar kind of situation. We had the breaker here, a low, high, low, right? You know, move that all the way over. What do you get? As soon as it gets down into that breaker area, it turns around and starts going back up. So now, like I said, what I'm waiting for, and I think this got cut off whenever I was talking last time, I want to see price get above this right here, this area right here, in between you know, 223.20 to 224-ish, somewhere around there. I want to see it get above that, right, and possibly fall back to it, and then that be kind of like the support area for it to move forward. That's what I want to see Litecoin do. So I went ahead and placed a trade on Litecoin just to see if it would happen. Now, what I put my stop loss at would be right at the bottom of this, right at the bottom of this breaker, maybe even a little bit lower, because this right here could be an order block, right? So we're looking at the hour, and go ahead and move it across, and I want to move it up to here actually, and move this to here. Even though it's a wick, it's a small body, small wick, that could easily be interpreted as a pretty good move this down one, pretty good order block. So because it was the last down candle before the huge up push, so I am looking at this candle as well. It could, usually whenever you have like kind of a breaker area, you want to see it get down to the bottom of the breaker before you place a trade, before it goes up. And if it gets down to that bottom area, which is also the order block, that would be a perfect you know, time for it to start climbing, even though it is already climbing anyway. But if it does do that, it does start falling backwards, I would just add another position. Once it gets here, I would keep the same stop loss, and I lost. But that's what I would be looking for as this continues to come about. Other areas that I would be looking at, again, let's take a look at Dash. Here was my thoughts about Dash yesterday. Again, coming up, touching, you know, the high, falling backwards. Actually, here, the green line is what I was thinking, except for it didn't actually break the high. It came down, touched it, it pulled back, it went up. Now it's pulling back even further, right? And what did it do? It hit this purple line that I was talking about, right? And now it's moving up from this purple line. So not you know, like I said, it didn't have to go all the way down into here, but it did have to at least get to this purple line. So instead of it doing, you know, 100% of what I thought it was going to do, got to about there, right? And now we're seeing it move up, and this could be the part here, and I'll just try to make this a little bit more an actuality of what happened with it. And so now the question is what's going to happen with it now. And I think we're going to be seeing another run at this high, right? And now that we're going to be seeing another run at this high, we'll probably see it pull back again, and then get above it. I'm actually just going to delete this one right here, since that's not what's doing it. And then pull back again, maybe even a little bit lower before it takes off. So that's what I would be looking for as far as Dash is concerned. So right now would actually not be a bad time to enter a trade. Stop loss, you just have to be looking at kind of a fairly large one, about a $13 stop loss, depending on how you trade it. You know, that could be a fairly, let's see here, if I was to, you know, put in a long position here and we were to get in right now where it is, right, and I put my stop loss just below here, right, that would fill in that gap. But what am I looking for as far as to take profit? I'm looking at these three areas. So you could be looking at oh, could get it a little bit higher, I guess. You know, you could be looking at it almost a 3-to-1 trade, you know, if you were to get in right now. If you wanted to wait a little bit, see if it's going to pull back again, you could. But right now is not really a bad time to get into Dash if you're looking to go for this trade, because again, we have equal highs, and that's what this line right here represents. We have equal highs, which means there is liquidity resting above it, there's liquidity resting below it. It is wanting to get to this area again, so that way it can get people to sell. You know, it's going to make people think it's going to do this again, right? Oh, it's going to come up here, it's going to sell again, right? Because this is the supposed resistance area. Well, what happens with those resistance areas? They get broken. They always get broken, and then they always get turned around on, because people get suckered into that mind of thinking like the crowd. Hey, it's gonna do this, you know, it's gonna keep selling as soon as we get here, you know, that this can't, you know, go wrong, things like that. So that's what I would be looking at as far as Dash is concerned. Another thing I was looking at was Neo, and again, I entered in this trade and primarily because of this, because I did see this huge drop here. It came back down to this area, and now it is turning around and going back up. And again, we have somewhat equal highs that I think we can get past, or at least get near to. And if it tries to start stalling and selling again, take profit, move your stop loss up to here. If you are going to enter here, where would your stop loss be? I would honestly think my stop loss, I mean, to play it safe, place it below here. But that's a huge stop loss. I wouldn't want, I mean, not a huge stop loss. It's about $3 in Neo, depending how much leverage you're putting on it. Could be a lot, could again, it all depends on what you're looking for as to what you're wanting to get out of it. So if you're going to do a long position, and my long position started at 39.94. So my long position started exactly at the line. So my long position started here. I need to take that off of there. At 39.94 is exactly where I started it. And then so my target would absolutely be above these highs right here, right? So and if you're wanting to get a little bit lower than that, then you're looking at about a 2-to-1 ratio, which isn't bad. And then if we break this down and look this over, it could be a little bit higher. I mean, that could be take profit 1. Up here could be take profit 2. Right? And then after that, 15%, you know, move your stop loss up above even here. Let the rest go as a trailer. Okay. That's what I would personally be doing. Now, let's head on over to the news, right? Let's see what's going on with the indices and things like that for this week. So, what we got going on here with the news and the indices, or what we could be expecting. So we got today daylight saving time shift between us and Canada. Of course, everybody knows that. I wonder how that's going to affect the markets. Markets start at the same time, or they start an hour later? Not for sure. That's a good question. I guess we'll just have to wait and find out. But as you can see, not much happening on Sunday. Tomorrow looks like, as far as not a whole lot going on as far as red is concerned. Just some manufacturing index with the US, housing starts for Canadian. So kind of an ordinary day for Monday, or for Monday, yeah. Tuesday here. What we're looking at, core retail sales, this could be a big one. So right around 8:30, expect some volatility, or just before generally is when you expect volatility, and between 7:30 and 8:30. That is New York time, I believe, which would be the New York kill zone. Then so Wednesday we got our hands full, it looks like. US St. Patrick's Day. Looks like we got some FOMC projections. Not always the best. You know, that's at 2 p.m. right at the end of the day. So if you're doing any kind of US pairs trading, watch out, and we'll have to see what's going to happen at the end of the day, because that could trigger it to be just jumping in the opposite direction. It could be like slowly gaining up and going up and going up, and as soon as it hits 2 o'clock, boom, it'll fall, or something like that, you know. But you gotta watch the specific time frames. Crude oil inventories always has something, you know. Well, USD CAD usually has something to do with crude oil inventories as well, since we're both consumers of the oil. And also there's a lot of CAD stuff coming out around that time, around 8:30. Thursday, looks like GDP has some interesting things coming out. Monetary policy, official bank rates, that's going to be a big one. They're at 0.1%. We'll see if they keep it the same. Even if they don't keep it the same, it's just going to cause volatility. And here Canada has its non-farm payroll change, so I wouldn't be trading anything Canada this week after Wednesday anyway. It looks like we have a Philly Fed Manufacturing Index, and let's see about Friday. For retail sales for Canada, again, probably not going to be trading it because of non-farm payroll. Anyways, that's what we got for that. So now that we have that kind of stuff in grade, let's head back over to some charts, and let's head to my favorite one, which is going to be the NASDAQ. So NAS 100 CFD. You can see I've been calling for some buys, only because it had been filling in these gaps. I mean, again, the same thing I have been using for crypto. I'm using the same thing for indices as well. Now, again, we have equal highs here, so this is what is leading me to believe that there is liquidity draw up here, and it's causing these prices to try to run up to here. So we'll have to see what's going to happen overnight on, you know, tonight, and see, you know, right now, you know, it's looking like it's already filled in a gap. Could fill in a gap here. Already filled in this gap here. So what I'm thinking we could see is probably just some stagnant information, and then all of a sudden, you know, it kind of makes a little bump or something like that in the middle of the night, and then pulls back down, and that leaves you with a, you know, like a high side liquidity. So what I mean by that is, let's see, we do a path, you know, let's say NASDAQ ends up starting out like this, and then comes down and does this. And then, I know this is like late in the day, this just, you know, I guess you could say, here, let me delete this, if it'll actually delete, and let's get into, not that, let's get into 5-minute time frame instead. And you know, let's say NASDAQ does, you know, something like this, and, you know, goes up a little bit and close to that, and then it starts falling back down again, and then it does something like this, and then drops back down again. And now what it's done is it's created a high, right? And that's created liquidity, right? So what it wants to do is probably break that high. This is what I have a feeling is going to happen. So then once, you know, 9 o'clock hits, or 9:30 hits, it's gonna, boom, it's gonna jump right past this high, it's gonna jump right past this high, and then it's gonna stall, right? And it's gonna pull back and make people think it's gonna start selling and sell, and then boom, it's gonna jump up again, probably around 12:30, 1 o'clock, and it may not hit this equal high mark just yet, but it could easily get past the equal high mark, but it may not, because that is quite the jump. But I'm just trying to lay out the foundation of what I think NASDAQ is going to be doing this week. Same thing with the SPX. SPX 500 USD. As you can see, you know, this was the call I made, and ended up making a great call. How many ticks we got out of that? 39.25 to 39.43, a good 220 something pips, especially after it got to that high that I wanted it to get. So now that we've got past that high, and that high kind of, you know, enclosed a gap, we still have some highs, but it looks like I'm actually still in this trade. So as you can see, I do have my stop loss above my take profit, and when I entered this trade, which was during this breaker, so you can see, or yeah, that's a breaker. So you have this high, you know, this low, this high, and then this lower low. So then basically, I think this was on a 1 hour. This becomes a breaker. So I drew this all the way across. And of course, once it got to a certain point, I just said, okay, it's perfect time to buy. And so I did. And now we're moving up since then. And we'll have to see what's going to happen here in a couple hours to see how this is going to continue. I have my take profit up here just before the actual high, only because in case it doesn't actually hit it, or it hits it and bounces back. I actually did get the take profit, and I don't, you know, get above it, or I may, you know, take a little bit of profit. I may move the take profit up, and then once we get there, take a partial, and then again move my stop loss up, and we'll see what's going to happen. But I believe that is probably the actual foundation of what we were looking at as far as the SPX is concerned. Even though I know everybody kind of was like freaking out for a second because we did have that drop. And whenever we did have that drop, I called it. I said it's gonna hit, it's gonna come down. I said 37.22. It hit 37.20, or I said 37.20. It hit 37.22. But then I thought it was actually gonna go back down and then clear all of this and then come back up, but it didn't. Instead, it decided to just move on right on up. And ever since it moved right on up, I've just been looking for good entries. And I have been making good entries to to get good gains on this SPX. So anyways, that's all I got for now. I'll probably be back later. I know I had quite a few things I wanted to talk about. I think the next thing I'll probably be talking about here in a little bit is going to be the top 25 of the top 25 of the altcoins that I have been talking about. And let's see here, the first 10, you know, anything from Loopring to Alpha to Polkastarter to Parsec, I forgot what CDT is, to New Cipher, to Ravencoin. Man, do I love Ravencoin. This has been one of my favorites, even though it's not really been having that greatest of action. The fundamentals behind this one is absolutely phenomenal. It is meant to trade asset to asset. So when I say that, I mean, let's say that you have an asset being a stock or something like that, or a cryptocurrency, or a commodity or some sort like that, and you have that, right? Let's say you have that, and let's say you bought Frontier or something, and it's gone down. You bought it at 5 and it's gone down to 240, which I think it actually has. Oh, Frontier, okay, it's at 3. What Frontier is at right now? 373, whatever it is. But let's say you bought it, when it was a little bit higher. I think it got up to 8 at one point. Doesn't look like it, well, like it was here. Let's say you bought it at, a little bit higher, it went down, and let's just say, oh, you don't think it's going to get any higher than that, but you have somebody else that's willing to pay you, $6 for it, and they think, hey, I think Frontier is going to be the next big thing. I'll buy your Frontier from you for $6, even though it's worth 3. That is what Ravencoin is about. Ravencoin is going to be like a peer-to-peer transfer of equities, of ownership. So it's going to be a way around the stock market, basically. So you don't necessarily have to sell back to your broker, right? You can sell what you have to somebody else at a higher price than what the broker is giving for you. I'm not for sure how they're going to pull that off, but this to me is a game changer, and I think Ravencoin is going to be doing very, very well. Phantom, doing all right. Again, I'm already here. I might as well be doing this video, okay? Gas is interesting. I really like gas, just because, why not, right? I think gas is from all the gas fees from the Neo platform. So any kind of gas fees that you're incurring from Neo, they put that in its own coin. So people, I think it's more of an encouragement to buy Neo. That way, you could also, if you own gas, you know, you're getting those as well. And when I first covered this, I want to say it was down around in here. Let me hold on. Let me change the chart over to personal analysis, and then because I think personal analysis is where I had all of these marked out as to where I start whenever I first started talking about these, and so we can see exactly where these or how far these have come. Of course, it's going to take me a minute to again, here's another Ethereum that, you know, I called that eventually, you know, ended up winning. Not to toot my own horn, but, you know, I'm getting pretty good at this. Let me see. Raven, I know when I first called Raven, it was at like 6 cents. Yes. Yes, it was at 6 cents. Now, when I first found Raven and I thought this was going to be a game changer, it was right around here, around 6 cents. It is now it reached all the way up to, I want to say, 28 cents. Let's see where it was, almost 30. But it's fallen back down now. It's about 18. It's been fluctuating in between about 15 and 19. So, but I think Ravencoin is, you know, eventually back on its way up. Let's see what Phantom was at whenever I first got a hold of it. These are my first 10, right? Whenever I first found Phantom, it was at 17, 18 cents. And again, these are the cheap ones, right? I was trying to find cheap cryptos that people could invest in, right? That way they could see their accounts 4x, 5x, 6x, something like that. And man, did I find some good ones at the right time. So Phantom starting out 17 cents, got all the way up to 80 something cents before it decided to come back down, and still it's at 40 something cents. So it is still 2x from the time that I have called this. Gas was at a really low price. I want to say it was at $6. Oh, $3. Geez. Gas was at $3 whenever I first called this. It is now at 13. So this has 4x'd since then, but even then, probably a 5-6x actually. It's at one point. Hedgic, I'm gonna throw probably out the drain. I don't think this one's going anywhere. I thought it was going to. Again, when I first found it, it was not showing. Oh yeah, up here. I see. I was thinking it was going to get higher than this at 50 something cents. It has dropped immensely since then, and hasn't come back. So, not too much a fan of Hedgic. Frontier I found at around $4. I think, not showing me. Maybe a little bit less. I want to say $4, $4.50. It's slid its way down. It bumped back up recently, thank God, but hanging around $3. We'll see. I know Frontier is eventually gonna be partnering with Coinbase, so I have faith in this coin. So don't give up just yet on Frontier. IOST. Where did I find this one at? It is not showing me where I find IOST at. I am not 100% sure where I found IOST at. Hold on. It was the same time I found Hedgic. So let me find that day that I found Hedgic, which was February. Yeah, it was Valentine's Day special, February 14th. So let's find out when February 14th was, and let's see if it's done anything since then. So February 14th, right around here, and it was late at night whenever I did this, prior somewhere around this time, 11 o'clock midnight. And it's gone up. Hey, can't complain. All right. So if you did invest in this, hopefully you probably got out at this point and then waited for it to come back down and get back in. But if we're just looking at, you know, raw numbers from the time I found it to now, 31%. Can't complain about that. It went from 0.33, I guess you could say, or, you know, 3 cents, you know, 3.3 cents to 4.3 cents. So still not a bad situation. And of course, I had to throw in Polkadot in there just because Polkadot is, even though it was one of the higher priced ones, it's going to be one of those ones that's, you know, they're laying it on heavy. I wouldn't say laying it on heavy, but a lot of developers are looking at Polkadot now and building a lot of things on top of Polkadot. And I found it here, February 14th. Here, I guess that would be right around this time, so it'll be right around 26 bucks. It is now at 37, so a good 35%. Can't complain if you want to add that to your portfolio. See what Loopring has done. Oh, Loopring is not doing too well at all, huh? I found it right around here, February 14th. Has fallen quite mightily. Loopring needs to pick it up, huh? We'll have to see and reevaluate if we want Loopring on this this list or not. Alpha, see what Alpha has done. About the same, if not just a little bit less. Looks like around February 14th had its drops. I was saying probably buy around this area, and that's why I made this box, right? And well, at least I wasn't wrong. It went a little bit below that, but you know, you want to add, you know, Alpha to your portfolio. May not be a bad time. I'll have to check more into that just to find out. Here we go, Polkastarter, above, just now above where I found it, where I said, you know, hey, watch out for this one because it's upcoming. But this was, you know, the week after we had that huge push. And then now we have Parsec, which I think is around the same thing as well. CDT, which I believe is Blocks. Yeah. Blocks doing very well. Starting off at you know, here 2.3 cents, 2.5 cents, fell tremendously. Whenever I started this, I said, hey, this might be the area to look to buy into it. I couldn't have been more on it. It looks like that was probably the perfect time to buy into it, as it just took off since then. So Blocks has been doing fairly well. New Cipher has been back and forth. You know, some days it's up, some days it's down. We need more. You know, New Cipher has to do with a lot more of what I'm looking for. Not really masking, but privacy. You know, privacy coins. You know, updates to privacy and the software and things like that, and making sure that your information isn't out there to the public. That way people can know you. You know, like people found Mark Cuban's wallet for crying out loud, you know, like, and even though it doesn't really state his name, you know, people are able to put dots together, you know, it's not that difficult. So that's what we had, and that was the new 10, right? So the first 10 that I did, I'm sure these have all 1 inch. I am not for sure about 1 inch. Yeah, it has not been doing too good. It was right around here. I thought it was going to end up being a really good coin. It's ended up falling quite a bit. Here is Mana. Oh, Mana. Wow, what happened with Mana? Again, Mana, whenever I found it, was 20 something cents. I bought into it at 22 cents. And it is now at $1.08. This is this coin, I think, primarily has to do with NFTs. I'm not 100% sure, but it has been off. It's just been going crazy. Now this one, not really sure. It has still been going up, but the sideways action. But again, this is a lot of the altcoins have been doing this. A lot of the sideways action. We'll see what happens these upcoming weeks with the, you know, especially with the Bitcoin pump, the Ethereum pump, all that good stuff. Algo, I think has been going up, if I'm not mistaken. Again, yeah, it has since I found it, since I called it around, you know, 77, 82 cents. It has gone up, made a huge spike, but then again has fallen back down. IOTA, I love IOTA. Again, called it around 54, 57 cents. It has been just massively growing since then. So I'm glad I got into IOTA when I did. Again, I was just trying to find cheap coins that, you know, I could add to my portfolio and hopefully 5-6x in no time. And sure enough, look at this one, 145%. So that is 1,040, you know, 1,450% if you think about it like that. Just from the time that I called it to where it is now. Imagine if you would have put $600, you know, in that, you would have a crazy substantial amount of money right now if you would have put a lot of that in IOTA, and I'm sure a lot of people did. Cheeseburg. Now this one I was confused about. I honestly, the reason I liked Cheeseburg was because, okay, not just because the name, or Swissborg, sorry, the thing looks like Cheeseburg, but it was because of these spikes down, right? If you look at these, and you have these spikes down, what that is telling me is that there are people in these trades, right, who are probably putting short stop losses, and the people that own it probably have some kind of knowledge of that, right? So what do? They sell it really quick, they sell it off, and they now knock off these people that are probably in some kind of leverage trade, and then they buy it back for cheap. And there's probably not a whole lot of handful of people that have, you know, Swissborg. And then eventually it made a huge run, and then fell back down, but now it's actually just been making a pretty good run after that. Where it's going to go from here, I do not know, but Swissborg is one of those ones to watch out for. Again, called it around 80, 84, 83 cents, now at $1.37. This one, ADA, of course, as we all know, as Cardano, surprisingly has been falling. I am actually in a trade right now with a Cardano, and it's fallen a lot farther than I thought it was. I did some digging, and I thought this right here was the lowest of it, and I probably should have taken some profits when it got above here, but I didn't, and now it's gotten down below here. I do have my stop loss down below here. I'm just gonna have to watch this very closely and see how Cardano is playing this, because it goes back and forth, and you know, it's been going back and forth between, you know, like, you know, $1 to $1.17. you know, hopefully we can get it back up to about that $1.50, but we'll have to see. Next one, Avalanche. I chose Avalanche just because I knew something was going to happen. And look, I put this buy zone, and wow, it ran right through my buy zone. And luckily I had a limit order on it on my what's it called? Geez, my Gate IO where I trade. I had a limit order on it, and I didn't even realize it until like I look at my portfolio one day, and like my Gate IO was like had X amount on it from Avalanche, and I was like, oh, well, that's pretty cool. So interestingly enough, I like I said, whenever I called this, I called it way down here when it was $18. It shot way up. What was it, 60? It shot way up to $60. It's fell back down now to about 30 or so, but still, at least it hit, you know, where I wanted it to, right where I wanted it to, got in the trade, and then now I have made some progress on that. Next one is Cello, or some people call it Cello Gold, or no, sorry, not Cello, Celsius. Not Cello. I really don't care for Cello that much, but Celsius, been back and forth. It took off right after I called it, but then went underneath. Now we're back above it, and now it hit where I originally called it, and now we're above it again. So I'll have to see what's going on with Celsius. I'm really not 100% sure, but again, just trying to find some cheap cryptos that we can, you know, try to, you know, make some good leeway on, you know, that are not going to break your bank. I don't want to throw in like Aave or anything like that in there, things that are like $200, $300, you know, like Elrond or something like that. But you know, something a little bit cheaper that people can, you know, hey, I have 20 bucks, I'm gonna throw this 20 bucks at here, and then hopefully that 20 bucks makes them 100 bucks, like Mana did for me. You know, I just had 20 bucks, and I was like, you know, Mana's at 20 something cents, boom, throw it in there, and you know, that threw up my account and tremendously by it going up to $1. So now I 5x'd it. So you know, I took 20 bucks and turned it into 100. So those are the kind of things I was hoping for whenever I started making these lists. So anyways, that's all I got for now. I may come back with a video later as the markets start opening around 4 o'clock Eastern time. I think that's when they're going to open. I'm not 100% sure how this daylight savings time works with the markets, but we'll see. Thanks for sticking around. Thanks for watching. And as always, always do your research. Just remember, I am not any kind of licensed professional. I am just doing this as a hobby. I am you know, doing this out of my own opinion. Don't consider anything from me as you know, words of financial advice.